Hi crafters, it's tutorial time. Let's do a wit topper and go through the 3 different fillers that you can use to make one. Today we'll be going through 3 different fillers. I have one from America and 2 that you can get locally in Australia. Now you will need a nozzle. For this one I got a large one from my local cake decorating shop. It is 11mm. You want a big one. This will give you the desired large swell. If you use a small one that comes in the disposable filling bags at the shops, you will have a lot of squiggly lines. It won't be as full and large. The disposable piping bags you can get from your local supermarket. They are super easy to use. You cut the end off and then just push your tip through. Now I do recommend disposable for this because the fillers are not fun to try to clean off a reusable one, unfortunately. You want to make sure that your bag is away from the end of the tip so that it doesn't affect the lines that come through. Now I've taken out the silicone plug in my lid and I'm going to be using a straw to stabilize in the center with some tape so that I can pipe around it. That way I don't have to push my straw through my piping once it's already dried or done, because then it kind of distorts the way the swell goes, in my opinion. So I've taped my straw in nice and steady so it doesn't move. This will also help me be able to keep it sturdy afterwards. I've already done one with that filler, so we're going to use the American imported one right now. I did get this one off of Amazon. It is quite expensive compared to the other ones, especially for the amount that you get. Now the consistency is very airy and very quite nice. Actually, it reminds me a lot of whipped cream compared to this one, which you can get from Bunnings. It is cheaper, you get way more in it. Now the smell, the one from Bunnings does smell like paint stripper. It's very, very strong. That might put you off. The one from America in the small tub doesn't have any smell at all, really. This is the Bunnings one you can see here compared to the small one from America. So the consistency is very different. The one from Bunnings does have kind of like a cement filler texture to it, whereas this one from America is very airy and creamy. It is lighter in consistency than our local one from Bunnings as well. So I'm going straight into making the one from Amazon. So I'm pulling back my piping bag and filling it in. This makes less mess on your piping bag. So I'm just filling it straight up. Put in more than what you think you will need, because then you won't get air bubbles in your piping bag or have to go back and refill. Squeeze it all down to the end and then give your piping bag a twist. This will make sure that when you're piping, it won't shoot out the end if you squeeze it too hard. Now I'm going straight onto the lid with this. You don't have to put a straw in if you don't want to, but I just find it easier in terms of I'm not having to push it through once I've piped and then I could accidentally mess it up. So I'm just piping straight around the straw and holding it and twirling it around while I'm doing it. So you can see using the bigger piping tip, you don't have as many small squiggles going around. It looks a lot cleaner and neater, kind of like an ice cream cone. Now I've decided to add some of our polymer clay slices. I was originally using the wax tip, but I just gave up and started using my hands. It doesn't automatically stick to the whip. You have to push it in, otherwise they're just going to fall straight off. You don't have to add anything to it if you don't want to. It's purely optional just to decorate, but I thought it looked quite cute adding it all in. So once this is all done, I'm just going to pop it in a container to dry. It will need a good week to dry. Now I'm going in with the Mont Blanc paste. This one I got from my local cheap shop. It is $20 a jar. It is cheaper than the Amazon option, but it is a completely different consistency. It's a lot wetter and it is heavier. But it does look nice when you pipe it. It's very different again from the one from Bunnings. These all have different consistencies and different smells, which is why I'm showing you what they all are, so then you can choose what your option is for what you want to do. So again, I'm going with my tape and taping in my straw, getting it all nice and sturdy. So once that's all done, I'm refilling a new piping bag and just going in and doing my swirl again. Now I did find with this one that you do use more of it than the others because it's not as light and airy. But it is quite a nice pipe. It has very crisp edges. It's glossy. It does look quite pretty. It really is up to individual choice as to what you want your topper to look like at the end for what you choose. So again, just piping around my straw. It does look very pretty when you pipe it, but I did find that once it's dried, it does sink a little, which the others didn't do. and the polymer clay does adhere to it a lot easier than the other fillers. So once this is all set, I did find that this one took a lot longer to dry than the others. And again, it did sink a little in height once it was dry. Now, I'm in Adelaide, so our cold weather, it makes these toppers take a lot longer to dry. You do need around a good week for them to fully set, because while they may look on the outside, they're not on the inside. So this is the one using the Bunnings filler. It does have a more thicker textured consistency. It's more brittle in feel. I did colour it using acrylic paint. You can mix it in a throwaway cup before you pipe it. So you can see here with the texture, it's more cementy than the others. Whereas the one from Amazon in America, it does look more airy and like cream once it is finished. So that's the purple one is the one from Bunnings. This is the one from Amazon that the Americans all use for their whipped toppers. And again, it does look more creamy and it's lighter and airy. Again, it did take another week. It did take a good week to properly set on the inside, because while it feels fully solid on the touch to the outside, you've got to make sure that the inside of it is all dry. Now, once the straw was all out, I did put my little silicone plug back in, and I also sealed the outside of all of this with a UV resin, just so that it is extra food safe. None of the sprinkles will fall off and all of that, and it gives it a nice pretty shine as well. But out of the two, I would either choose the one from Bunnings or the one from Amazon. You don't get the sinking in your height. They do dry quicker and they just look more like cream. Whereas, see, you can see here with the one from Mont Blanc Paste, it did sink in height once it was dry, but it does have those nice crisp edges. So it's up for you, but that's the full tutorial on how you make them and comparing different products from Australia. I hope you've enjoyed and you've learned a new tip on how to do this all, and have fun with your tumblers. Here's a proper close-up where you can see all the different consistencies of the finished toppers between the three fillers. My favourite go-to was definitely either the one from Bunnings, which is the purple, or the one from Amazon, which is on the yellow lid. It definitely just gives it that more cream vibe, but the Parfix multi-filler is from Bunnings and the red DAP one is from Amazon.